In this series, we cover the many products, promos, and pack-ins available to support Dungeon Masters and players within the world of Eberron. This time, inspired by a recently announced out-of-the-ordinary Eberron accessory, I want to cover Eberron's strangest ones, the accessories that aren't going to necessarily help you DM better or get across your character better, but I will try to look at explanations on how they could conceivably improve your D&D game. This is the Eberron Collector. Let's start with the item that inspired me to make this video in the first place. The 24-ounce TERVIS Tumbler with Exploring Eberron cover art. At the time of recording, this item is up for pre-order for release in early December 2021. Because I am talking about it before it does come out, I can only show off preview images provided on the Together store site. TERVIS tumblers are double-walled insulated tumblers, meaning they have a layer of air in between the two walls of the cup, allowing it to insulate the drink inside, keeping it hot or cool. The design goes back to the 1940s and is manufactured in the USA. This variant is being made exclusively for Keith Baker's company, Together Studios, and features the cover art from his Exploring Eberron book. The illustration was done by Thomas Bourdon. So the shop suggests this tumbler is a perfect DM's thank you gift. So that's the solution here on how to make use of it as part of D&D play, as a way of sucking up to your DM and hopefully getting some dice rolls fudged or extra magic items tossed your way by your now happier DM. Alternatively, if you're always spilling drinks while reading your D&D books or playing D&D, this could assist with that. Otherwise, this cup is just a way of representing your love for Eberron to the outside world. The next item I'd like to look at is the Eberron item that is the first released by Ultra Pro that is directly related to this world. Ultra Pro is one of Wizards of the Coast's biggest and most important licensees, just not for D&D. They, however, have released hundreds, if not thousands, of products under license for Wizards' other big game, Magic the Gathering. They release 4 key items for Magic with the branding, though they do have unbranded versions of those items too, and the company is constantly trying out other products and variations of their core products as well. Those core Magic-related items are card binders and deck boxes to protect the Magic cards when they are not being played, and card sleeves and playmats to protect them while you are playing. All of these items get symbols or card art on them from the game, and allow a Magic player to personalize their play experience even more than just building their own deck. Ultra Pro and a number of other manufacturers release playmats of many types, and most Magic players, especially those who play higher level tournaments, tend to have a stack of them, as they are often given out for participation or as prizes. I know I have 30 to 40 unused mats myself from playing in a lot of Magic tournaments over the course of my Magic career. Within the last couple years, Ultra Pro has spread out from just Magic to include D&D images as well in their cover series of playmats, showing covers of most of the D&D books and big adventures, including Eberron Rising from the Last War. So let's take a look at it here more closely. When you first purchase the mat, it comes in this cardboard box with a plastic window. The box is about 2 inches square and is a bit over 13 inches tall. On this side, you can see some of the selling points and details about the map. Let's go over them. 2 functions are listed on how to make use of it. For tabletop games, it says smooth fabric surface protects gaming cards and accessories during play, and thick rubber core protects surface from dice rolling. And then it talks about it using as a computer desk pad. Works with any standard mouse. High quality, non-slip backing material, and super wide mat to fit both keyboard and mouse. And then also gives you the mat's unrolled size, which is 23 7/8 by 13.5 inches. The metric sizes will be on screen. Let's get that box opened and the playmat laid out. The mat is made from a pretty thick rubber backing, so it won't move around while you're gaming, and it has a cloth top that is nice and smooth. If you ever used a mouse pad, that is basically the same material. Right out of the box, the mat lays flat. These mats are quite durable and are designed to be carried around in a backpack to card game events, and can be machine washable. The only real problem with that is the mat's edges might begin fraying after heavy use. Other types of playmats have surged edges to prevent that, but Ultra Pro doesn't do the surged edges. So the playmat is definitely high quality. So what uses might it have? Well, the obvious use would be as a play space as you play Magic, Pokemon, Spellfire, or some other trading card games, letting you show off your love of Eberron to your gamer friends while you play those other games. Also, you can use it under your mouse and keyboard as a desk pad while you use a computer. That way you can enjoy the Wesley Burt cover art all the time, though most of it will be covered. And this playmat is slightly undersized for what would be an ideal desk pad. As a play surface for D&D itself, it's not ideal. You can't really write on a character sheet directly on top of it as it's too squishable, so your pencil will go right through the paper. If you are a miniature user, it will also get covered up by your battle mat or terrain, so its only use left is really to protect your gaming surface from dice rolling. Your dice will bounce a little more than normal, but if you have metal dice or antique furniture that needs to be protected from that type of impact, this can definitely work. If you bought a digital-only copy or a used edition of Shards City of Towers, you might not know that within the back cover of the book comes something pretty special in a little clear plastic flap, an audio CD. The compact disc has 9 fully orchestrated songs of very high quality, each song lasting about 5 minutes. I'd say it's about as good as music from a movie. Each song is inspired by a concept from Eberron and D&D, or people and locations from Eberron itself. It is very good at capturing the feel of those concepts, or locations from Eberron itself. The composer of the songs was David P. Davidson, who had already written music for TV and movies, though not anything you likely have heard of. The CD cover has the URL for David's long-defunct website, though remnants do remain on archive.org. The album was produced by still current D&D designer Chris Perkins. Let's go through each of the tracks briefly. A dynamic, building-up song that gets right to the action. Good for a tense role-playing scene that might erupt in violence, or of course, for chases. It sounds like a soundtrack for the initial descent into Kyber, investigating something strange and then fighting some monsters, at least to me. A song that seems to be focused on evoking the feeling of the noir intrigues of Sharn. Parts of the song have been used on D&D's official podcast as theme music for quite some time now. The percussion in this track sounds like the clang of hammers in the Lord of Blades forges in the Mournland, and builds to a dramatic section that could serve as the encounter with the Warforged fanatic themselves. Part of the song has been used to serve as the introduction to the Lore You Should Know segment of the official D&D podcast. A song with suitably dreamlike instrumentation and a choir. The song has just enough dark undertones to cut through the peaceful sound of the composition. A great sonic representation of the inspired. A very tribal sounding song with a percussion, I believe coming primarily from a tabla, with a lot of reed instruments for the lead melody, and some vocals in a constructed language of some sort. It all feels very tribal and outside the norm, and is great not just for interacting with the halfling barbarians of the plains, but could work for encounters with just about any foreign power from outside of Corvera as well. One of the songs having the least to do directly with its title, in my opinion. That's not really a knock. This song is good for any traveling scene in a menacing place, though. A slow build with more tribal drumming patterns. Good for exploring the jungles of Zendrick, indeed. Bringing back the themes from other songs, including Clash with the Lord of Blades, and Dreams Be Inspired. and others, it does go back to the main theme by the end to wrap the whole thing together. Effectively, this is the end credits of what could be an Eberron movie. Overall, not something you might directly expect to come out of Wizards of the Coast, but with its just over 43-minute runtime, you can easily have the album on repeat while your group is gaming, and the songs each have a very good and different feel, making it so you likely won't notice that you've heard the same song a few times. And the songs give a good feeling of adventure, perfect for pulpier Eberron games. Back in 2004, Wizards of the Coast was no longer publishing Dragon and Dungeon magazines, and Paizo, who you might know now as the publisher of the Pathfinder role-playing game, was formed to create the magazines instead. Often the magazines would come packed with a special bonus accessory. Maps were common, but cards and other things were included from time to time. Dragon issue 320 had an interesting pack-in to support Eberron, Dragonmark stickers. It was a single sheet of stickers with 6 dragon marks. As you can see from the image, the stickers were designed to be cut out yourself and viewed from the opposite side of the object they were stuck to. So let's flip them here so you can see this correctly. The marks chosen for the sheet were from 3 houses. Deneth with the mark of Sentinel, Liarndar with the mark of Storm, and Fierlen with the mark of Shadow. 2 variations of each mark were included. The least, the form most dragon-marked individuals start with, and the slightly more powerful, lesser form. There are 3 major issues with these stickers. The first is that there are only 3 out of the 12 different types of marks. Perhaps the idea is that the 9 other sets would come later, but these were never brought back. Second, the stickers were designed mirrored, so the stickers can only show the dragon marks correctly if stuck to a piece of glass and looked at from the other side. So useful for a store perhaps to display that they sell Eberron material, but harder for an individual to use effectively. Lastly, well, the image of the stickers that I've been showing you is how they would ideally look when a magazine buyer would get them. But this is how they actually look. And from what I've seen of other people's copies of the stickers, this is fairly representative of what people got. The stickers picked up ink from the pages of the magazine it was pressed against, making it look dirty. So while the stickers are kinda cool and can somewhat be used as a prop, physical representation of the dragon marks when you are playing, but in my opinion, their issues very much outweigh their benefits. So unless you're a completionist, I'd recommend against seeking out these specific accessories. Sticking with some physically represented dragon marks, we have these much more recent examples from 2020's Eberron Rising from the Last War Gold Edition box set from Beetle and Grimm. This set does have all 12 of the least powerful versions of all the true dragon marks as temporary tattoos. Temporary tattoos are quite common products for children, most often bonuses with snacks or gum, or a bonus in with trading cards. They are paper-backed and applied with water, most being designed to stay applied to the skin only for a few days. Each of the tattoo sheets has a thin plastic film over the surface of the design to protect it, and it has instructions on the back. The 12 sheets are then bound together in a paper ring marked with the Beetle and Grimm's symbol. It may be hard to tell from the video, but these tattoos do have a subtle shimmer to them, which accentuates the magical nature of dragon marks. Many people involved with Eberron do have real tattoos of dragon marks, including the creator of the setting himself, Keith Baker. He got himself a greater mark of making. I haven't personally used any of these temporary tattoos, as getting replacements is not exactly easy, as Beetle & Grimm's doesn't sell the tattoos individually, and I don't want to not have a complete set. The limited nature of these temporary tattoos is their biggest downfall. They are actually great to help a player get into a dragon marked character, or perhaps for someone to cosplay as said character. But as a one-time use item, it's one and done, with difficulty replacing them if you do want to try to go as the character again. You can use them as a printed handout to show players what dragon marks do look like, but the plastic film may come off, and then they will be quite fragile. The marks may crack or flake off of the backing paper. They do look very good for what they are, though. So from here, we're continuing on items that were included in the Gold Edition box set. The Feather Token is a metal pin, which represents the iconic magic item from Eberron. The Feather Token goes back to the 3.5 book Sharn, City of Towers, where it appears as Featherfall Talisman. There, it was described as a small pin that is made from brightly colored feathers. It came back in 5th edition with the name Feather Token instead, and has this description. This small metal disc is inscribed with the image of a feather. In both cases, the feather item helps you survive with a feather fall-like effect when you fall from a great height, which is an essential insurance plan when you are in Sharn and might fall from a great height unexpectedly. The physical token is somewhat a combination of the two magic item descriptions between the old version and the new one, as it is made out of metal like the token, but is in the shape of a feather, like the talisman. The metal of the prop shimmers in many hues, so it does look somewhat multicolored, like the 3.5 description. The token has 2 butterfly clasps to allow you to pin it onto clothes, and overall is 2.5 inches long and about 1/4 inch wide. It comes in a plastic baggie inside the Gold Edition box set. The pin has no direct benefit in gameplay, but it is a fun handout if a player character purchases a feather token, or maybe if one is found while investigating a crime in Sharn. So here we've got something that really works great to help bring players into the world of D&D. And if you're a cosplayer, your character might need to wear this magic item as well. This is the last item we'll be covering in this video. Dragonshards are the primary magic resource that makes Corvair's magical economy run. And Beetle & Grimm have given us these amazing props to represent them. Dragonshards have 3 different types. Found underground and required for binding magics, including all elemental vehicles. These are dark blues and purples, and they share their name with Eberron's Underdark equivalent and the progenitor dragon that purportedly makes it up, Kyber. Crashed to Earth from the ring that can be seen in the sky above Eberron. These Dragonshards are yellow, and are used in magic items that enhance the magic abilities of dragon marks. The shard is named after the progenitor first to fall. They are called Sybarish shards. Found in the earth, the red shards are the key component in the wealth of House Therashk, as these shards are needed to construct almost every magic item, either in the form of larger shards or ground into a dust sometimes called residuum. These red Dragonshards are called after the Earth of the material plane herself, Eberron. As for the physical props, each are made of some sort of colored plastic or acrylic or something like that, and all of them have a small hole drilled through one end to allow the shards to be placed onto a cord, which the set conveniently comes with. The shards also come inside a velvety black drawstring bag, emblazoned with the dragon, also called the lion drake, that is the symbol of House Tharashk. The sack and shards are both useful in-game props, as the majority of shards will be tied back to a Tharash prospector at some point. Both the shards and the previous feather token are still available individually for sale, still at this time of recording, from Beetle and Grimm's online store, if you want them without getting the entire Gold Edition box set, which is also still available. So that's all we're covering for today. For the items still available for sale, I will include links in the description. I do want to note again that the tumbler is still a pre-order item, but shipping out pretty soon, and I have seen from Keith Baker that it will be fairly limited, so if you do want one, you likely do want to move on that pretty quickly. Hopefully, you found at least one useful item for your game, character, or cosplay, or however you might engage with Eberron. Thanks very much for watching. Please let me know in the comments or by email if you have noticed any errors, and I do want to hear if there is a topic you'd like to hear about. So please reach out.